It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Now, I promise I'm not channeling your mother here. No, it's really true, and that tone we use and the words we choose can affect how people respond to us. Here to teach us a little bit more on how to communicate better is our lovely guest, Mark Ortman. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I do. And you are here to talk to us because you are a consultant and mediator, and you have 12 words that we should not be saying in the world?
Yes.
Or that push people's buttons, I should say.
That push people's buttons.
Okay, and where did you come up with this list of 12?
Well, originally, I listened to 24,000 stories over a 12-year period. Class members who said what works and what doesn't work for them. And so I found parallels between the words there, and then I expanded upon that as a mediator for 10 years. Okay,
and as a mediator, your job is to get people to communicate?
Yes, my role as a mediator is to facilitate a conversation between two people who can't.
Okay, and it's really these 12 words that are stopping people from communicating correctly.
Well, in part, there's a shift going on in the culture right now. If we look back at the industrial era, communication went from the top down, and they called it command and control. And with the information era, information is abundant to everyone. And so as a result of that, our communication has to change. For example, could you imagine if somebody spoke to you as like they did in the Roman days, or like Shakespeare, and you would think, well, that's out of place.
Right.
Well, the command and control is moving out of place and being replaced with a more collaborative approach.
Like words and emojis.
Well, that's one way to look at it. That sure is one way to look at it.
And you're saying in the 70s there was a big shift, and it was all because of something that Nordstrom did.
Well, Nordstrom's, someone at Nordstrom had the wisdom to survey their customer base. So instead of thinking just top down, I have all the answers and this is what we're going to do, let's go out to our customer base and find out what it is that they wanted. And so one of their policies that they enacted was the ability to return a product anytime after it was purchased.
Oh, I know. I love Nordstrom for that.
So back then, that was one of the first major companies that did it. And now, of course, everyone is doing it. So they saw the wisdom of it's not just about from the top down that we have all the answers at the top. The new assumption is that everybody has information to make the best possible decisions. So the question is how do we go about and get that information? Hollywood even understood that.
So they're getting this information, and you're also taking the same information, I'm guessing, that they're getting, and coming up with this list of 12 words that push people buttons. Is that what you're saying?
The 12 words are consistent in using the old command and control approach, the old way of doing it. And what that does is tend to make people defensive and withdraw from what is being said. And so in communication terms, it's called syntax, the arrangement of words in a sentence. And that is what is shifting. So it's a more collaborative approach as opposed to do as I say approach.
And I will say that I feel, Mark, like you were put here by my husband so I could learn these 12 words and stop pushing his buttons. Because here are the 12 words, and I was going over these, and I'm like, well, these are some of the ones that start fights in my house. He hates when I say never. Like, you never do the dishes. He's like, that's not true. I do the dishes. I just didn't do them today.
Well, with the 12 words, the word at the top, when we preface a statement with the word you, when we're asking somebody to do something or for something, usually follows with a you always, you never, you don't, and it implies a judgment or a criticism or a blame, as opposed to asking what it is that we want.
Well, and whenever I say those type of things, like you can't, you don't, you shouldn't, it's always in moments of passion where I'm angry. Right? So I'm not thinking through my words. So how do I get around that? How do I fix that?
Well, when our frustration leads, we tend to go back to the old approach, which is familiar. Since the approach is changing, it's understanding the principles behind the new approach. And they're so simple, it's profound.
It's so simple. So simple to you, Mark. It takes a lot of practice for me, all right? I could have done it, but that's on the list, so I can't say that either. What am I supposed to say? What are some good words? So these are the words I'm not supposed to use, like shouldn't, didn't, always, don't. What are my positive words?
Well, responding with these words is fine. Somebody says, are you going to the meeting? No, I can't make it. It's when we reach out to ask somebody for something or to do something. So it's when we want action, using those words, they're words that limit. And so they do just the opposite of what our intention is, and that's why we get resistance.
So maybe instead of "you never do the dishes," it should be "will you do the dishes?"
Please do the dishes.
Okay.
And so now I've spoken my intention without judging you or criticizing you for an action.
I will say I feel like I'm getting a little bit of couples therapy on the couch right now. Which is great, right? That's fantastic. I mean, I'm sorry I'm not paying you for this, Mark. I really am.
No charge.
Yeah, no charge.
No
Sweet.
charge,
That's awesome. That's super awesome. Well, I would say that I would never want to see you again, but that's not true at all. I want to see you again, and that's going to happen pretty soon, right? You have a big thing coming up at Bellevue Community College.
Yes, I've been teaching this class that I designed 25 years ago and have modified and adjusted it throughout the decades, and the next class is going to be mid-next month.
And what will people get from that?
They'll walk away with understanding what this new syntax is and how they can practically apply it in their life.
Okay.
All the principles behind it, so
all right.
they'll be armed to.
You're armed to go out into the world and use the right words. So Mark's upcoming workshop, it's not what we say, it's how we say it, is coming up October 23rd at Bellevue College's Continuing Education. For information on how you can sign up, of course, you can head to our website. And then when we come back,